Friends, and happy Easter in advance. This night we celebrate the Easter Vigil, and tomorrow morning is Easter Sunday. I've already written my reflections and posted. I would like you to read them. This evening I titled my reflection Light of Resurrection. The light of the risen Christ, because of the pervading nature of the theology of light in the entire celebrations of today. So I categorized it under 4, the light of salvation, in which through the course of the readings we saw the light of God's saving creation, first reading. Second reading, the saving election through Abraham. The third reading, the saving deliverance from the people of Israel, representing the deliverance God has made of us from the dominion of darkness. And from the fourth reading to the seventh readings of the Old Testament today, the light of God's saving assurances and love through the prophets. Also, the light of victory, that's number 2. Number 3, the light of hope. Number 4, the light of the new life. The details are in the reflection. In the celebration of tomorrow, we talked about Easter joy. And I say it is a joy of 4 phases. The joy of the empty tomb, of rolled stone, the joy of victory, the joy of certain hope, and the joy of new life. I leave you to see the details in the print. I just want to tell a story. I don't want to go into the beautiful ornamentations of today's reading, the theology of Easter and all whatnot. I just want to tell a story this morning. And for me, this story summarizes the entire message of Easter, the entire Paschal event. It's a beautiful story that one of my sons, Obiefuna, told me. It's a story about a big fish. A big fish that posed a threat to villagers. People did not visit the village stream because the fish was in the stream and the fish would swallow anybody that came at odd hours. And this particular young lady came. Something happened. He didn't go when others were going. At the end of the day, she left her bangles in the river and left. Because of how important that bangle was for her, she decided to go back and pick the bangle. When she went to pick her bangles, she discovered that the bangle was no longer there. And by that time, the fish had already come out from the depths of the water and was already rummaging and cascading about in the rivers. And so, the little girl, Ada, called on the fish to ask if the fish had found the bangle. He began with a song addressed to the fish. I know you want to see or hear the song. It's in Igbo, but I'll try to interpret. He began with Azu, Azu, Singilima, Azu, Azu, Singilima, Ihurumbakam, Singilimbakam, Debere na kukumiri, Singilimbakam, Debere na kukumiri, Singilima. And I said, Obonye neku, Singilima, Asim, Obonye neku, Singilelongi, Singilelongi, Singilima, Pararam, Uburu Yalo, Singilima. She said, Azu, Azu, did you see my bangles? I kept it at the banks of this river. And Azu said, who is talking? How dare you? I swallow you. I will swallow you. And the fish swallowed the girl. When the younger brother waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and the girl didn't come back, he decided to go and look for the girl. And when he reached the river, he saw the Azu there. The big fish there, already relishing the delight of the elder girl that he had already eaten. And then he called on the Azu and said again, Azu, Azu, sengelema. Azu, Azu, sengelema. Ifurumba kan sengelema. Okay, rather he said, Ifulu adanem sengelema. Adanem chotalumba kaya sengelema. Mbako dedelu na kukumiri sengelema. Azu said again, Obonye neku sengelema. Obonye geku sengelema. Elongi sengelema. Elongi sengelema. Bararam. The fish swallowed the brother. Almost every member of the family kept going, and when they went, the fish would swallow them. It was a terror of a fish. Even the father went and said, Azu, Azu, sengelema. Azu, Azu, sengelema. Ifulu no someone, sengelema. No someone, chojelo chicken one, sengelema. Chicken one, chojelo adane, sengelema. Adane, chojelo mbakaya, sengelema. Mbako dedelo na kukumiri, sengelema. That's what said, Obonye neku, sengelema. Asim, Obonye neku, sengelema. Elongi, sengelema. Elongi. You can't believe it. The fish swallowed the man. After swallowing Nonso and Chike and Adane, swallowed the father. And then the mother came back from farm, didn't see the entirety of her family. And she decided to go look for them in the rivers. When she came, of course the fish by that time had fattened. Already 4 major people in its stomach. And the woman benignly said, Azu, Azu, sengelema. Azu, Azu, sengelema. Ifulu dimo, sengelema. Dim chojelo keke, sengelema. Keke chojelo no chike, sengelema. Chike chojelo adaneya, sengelema. Adane chojelo mbaka, sengelema. Mbako dedelo na kukumiri, sengelema. And Azu said, Obonye neku sengelema. Asim obonye neku sengelema. Elongi sengelema. Elongi sengelema. Pararam wa oparaya no sengelema. The Azu had finished the entire family except the smallest one, the last born. The last born had gone for an errand. He didn't know what had happened to the family. By the time he came back, the news had spread to the entire village. Everybody had known what the big fish had done to the family. And everybody was frightened. Nobody could go. And they dissuaded this young man not to go because the fish would swallow him. He cried. He had the option to remain an orphan and without siblings, or to go and make and try a lot. So the young man insisted that he was going. A very young man, small, fragile, weak. But he was wise. And they said, you can't go. He said, I will go. Incidentally, he went. He had armed himself, but nobody knew he had armed himself. Nobody was willing to accompany him. The villagers deserted him. He went alone. And when he confronted the Azu, the big fish, was already fat, frightening, and already was in charge of the entire rivers. And when the boy reached, he said, Azu, Azu, sengelema. Asim, Azu, Azu, sengelema. Ifulu nemo, sengelema. Nem chojelu namo, sengelema. Nam chojelu keke, sengelema. Keke chojelu chike, sengelema. Chike chojelu adaneya, sengelema. Adane chojelu mbakaya, sengelema. Mbako dedelo na kukumiri, sengelema. Mbako dedelo na kukumiri, sengelema. Azu said, Obonye neku. Who is talking? Asim, Obonye neku. Elongi, Elongi, Pararam wa oparayalo. The fish swallowed the little child and was now cascading about, enjoying the victory that he has swallowed the entire family. What the fish didn't know is that the little child had already knives and weapons around. So when the fish swallowed the little child used the knife to cut open the belly of that fish and released the entire family, the father, the mother, and all his siblings that were in the stomach of that fish. And the fish died. When my son told me this story, it made a lot of meaning to me. For me, this story is a metaphor of what Jesus has done. When Jesus submitted to death, the devil that caused death was enjoying, cascading about, thinking he has had the final triumph. Jesus came with all the weaknesses of human nature, just like this small child. And he knew that for him to liberate all those who are already held captive by death, that the only reason was to submit to death. But he had the weapon of resurrection. When Jesus submitted to death, he released all of us and killed death. That is the summary of joy, Easter joy. That is the summary of Easter story. Jesus' death has given us victory. His light has cured our darkness. His truth has cured our falsehood. His justice and mercy has cured our injustice. We are a free people. His victory is our victory. Happy Easter. Enjoy. God bless you.